Hello everyone, welcome to Redmen TV. It's time for your Twitter reactions to Liverpool's 2-2 draw with West Brom. A real mixed bag and fair play. I think there's plenty of talking points to come out of that game, all of which we'll be covering on the Final Word show. If you need a bit more depth and detail on this stuff, 45 minutes an hour. Incoming tonight on the redmentv.com. Highly recommended. We're going to start. It wasn't sent in directly, but our good friend Chris Williams says reality check on actual squad depth and strength just at the right time. Yeah, I agree to that to some extent. In that, I think we've seen there's a reason why Alberto Moreno's not been able to force his way back into the team. I thought he was really good in the first half of the season. I think he's better than he showed today. He's not played, has he? And he was rusty as a result. And similarly, Klavan. This is one of those things, though, is that I think this team was selected as much to you know, for a little bit of protection for the team for Tuesday, but also with an eye to a couple of games left remaining in the season to get a clearer idea of the squad depth. And Ragnar Klavan, Moreno, Joe Gomez, these are all players who are, particularly in the positions. I think Joe Gomez has got a very bright future at centre-half. Ragnar Klavan's a Wayne empowered. He's never going to be any better than the best we've seen him at. And Alberto Moreno's Alberto Moreno. What more do you want to be said about Moreno? Mr. Up and Down. We know he can be good. We also know he can be frustratingly horrendous. He was more the latter than the former in this game, unfortunately, which, you know, if you've always hated and you always will hate Moreno, I'm sure you're like a pig in shit. But what, you know, hopefully that's one of those situations where I think he's fine. He's an adequate squad member, but can you upgrade? Can you upgrade on him? Can you upgrade on Klavan? Yeah, you can. And if that informs transfer business in the summer, then let's hope that's a positive to take out of this. Stefan, who's radical Robbo. Ref was shite, and we threw away a 2-goal lead, and we had full control of the game. Not like the Liverpool we've seen in the past 4 months, but we march on to the semis. Come on, Reds. The referee was shite. Shite. It's almost a bit of it feels like a bit of a get out, like you only ever talk about bad referees when the game doesn't go your way, but inevitably if the game doesn't go your way more often than not, it's actually because of a referee and their involvement or lack of involvement. Some of the not just the decisions, but the lack of decisions in game, genuinely baffling. Like the stuff that's like Danny Ings gets fouled, it's off the ball, but it is literally right in front of the ball. That's a penalty in the first half. It's a penalty. I know it's off the ball, but Chris, watching with us, made a great point. You know, if he clotheslines him, if he delivers him a Bradshaw-esque clothesline from hell, it's still a free kick. Whether the ball is, he's acting, yeah, and plenty of the decisions. He was just a bit crap, I thought. And yeah, we have thrown away. Liverpool did have full control of the game. Maybe not full control. I speculated at half-time. I thought Liverpool should have gone a bit more. I think we should have ramped it up the intensity up a bit sooner. Look, it was telling when Oxlade-Chamberlain came on the pitch. We were just more dangerous and more dynamic for it. And by the time we needed to try and get a late winner, it was Firmino and Oxlade-Chamberlain basically up front. And we give it up by then to try and be solid, and unfortunately it didn't work. Lovren wasn't good when he came on. Not necessarily his fault for the goal, but one little dodgy moment that Karius had to bail him out for in particular. But yeah, you know, it would have been nice to see more from Liverpool. If Liverpool win the Champions League semi-final and get through to the final and look, ultimately secure top 4 a week, you know, whether we have to secure it at Chelsea, if we have to do that, we have to do that. It's not going to matter. The most important thing is to be able to focus on this, and that's the way I guess the management will be looking at, although I imagine Jürgen is raging with that. Alex Oxlade Sergio Comey, who is Alex_AMS and 96, says don't get the fume. Rest the players, no one got injured, and we're going to get top 4 regardless. Bring on Roma. That's the kind of positivity we need. I'm trying not to slip into a little pit on this. It's hard. It's just hard. Life is hard. Look, we all just want to be outside in the beer garden, don't we? To be honest, we should have taken this out to the car park to do it. Really, like go and have a lesson outside in school. Lifts everyone's mood. Thank you very much for that comment. That is how we should all be treating this game. To be perfectly honest, Alex Piper 2002 would be nice to see West Brom relegated. Look, for all their fight and fair play to them. Look, everyone loves an underdog. Everyone loves a bit of a scrap. I'd rather them not have got the points against us. To be perfectly honest, I've seen us lose too many points to West Brom this season, let alone over the last 15 years, and you know they've had a few up and down moments. The major bonus I take from this is that we won't have to play them again next season because they're going to get relegated. Good. I don't like West Brom. I don't like the way that they've been forced to play football. I think they would rather play good football. I think their fans would rather see play good football. That's not what they've become. All they've done is be a source of just frustration. Basically like having an itchy arse that you can't scratch because you're in a really posh place and everyone's looking at you. That's what West Brom have been a little bit like. Steve Costino says, only Virgil van Dijk can hold his head up from our backline. Moreno was awful. Clavan's suspect and Gomez has one too many errors in at the moment. Yeah, again, Moreno, Clavan, not played enough football of late to be thrown into what ended up being a bit of a ragged game at the end when they were genuinely going for it. And look, they're not top quality, those lads. They're just not. I think they're decent squad players and they're fine to call on at a pinch. I think we could have done with them having played a bit more football, but a combination of injury and just the way we've chosen to manage the squad has kind of left them out to dry a little bit in this. And Gomez, he does have a mistake in him. He is a young lad and he's got a very bright future in the game. He's cost us a few goals this season. But then, as I said this on my match reaction, so's Trent. Trent's cost us goals this season. But ultimately, I think if you we'll look at the full course of it and we look at the quality of the footballer there, I don't say you can forgive him for it because I think, look, in 5 or 6 years' time when we've got a genuinely top-class player, and we've had one for a number of years in that player, none of us will remember the mistakes that he made to get there. You know, Gerrard made mistakes, Carragher made plenty of mistakes, young, good players make mistakes along the way. That's how you become a good player. You don't become a good player by being boss all the time because you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. David is at Who's Cookie. Are English referees all blind? The foul on Ings is a stonewall pen I've ever seen. And a Ghazi, what a cunt. He has won a massive bellend. He literally got Danny Ings down on the deck and punched him in the chest. Again, one of those situations where if he's sent off, I don't think they've got anything in them. If we get the penalty, it's a different game. It's one of them things. West Brom are bottom of the table. I had this down as a bit of a dead rubber. I thought they'd be dead and buried, and they should have been dead and buried by now. So to their credit, they've made themselves more competitive than they've been all season. It's probably too little too late. So the game wasn't quite easy. Although they're bottom, and they're bottom for a reason, it's ended up being a bad time in that regard because, as you say, you know, they were out for blood for the last few minutes of the game. Kind of fair play to them, but also, yeah, Ghazi, what a bellend. And Lewis Cleary, 6. Ings finally got a goal and Salah scored the game. So who really cares? Yes, come on, Danny Ings. We love Danny Ings. Danny Ings got a goal. Chris has got this dream that he scores the winner in the European Cup final. I'm all in on that. I'd rather it be sewn up before we have to bring Danny Ings onto the game, if I'm perfectly honest. But yeah, good to see him. I think that's got to be the real high point. Well, 2 high points. Danny Ings finally scoring and Mo Salah getting 31 league goals now for the season. Fantastic. So many positives, so many things to be upbeat. So be more like the upbeat people amongst the comments. Don't be down. Don't be downbeat. Shrug it off. Go and enjoy the lovely sunny weather. Have a nice relaxing drink. Put your feet up. Watch all of Mo Salah's goals from the season. Be dead happy and then storm into Roma in the Champions League semi-final on Tuesday. Come on, Reds.